The following is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 2.
Three, two, one. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final match of the round here in MRE Uno D2's Meteorological May. I'm your host, G-Man, and we have what could end up being, as some has speculated, a potential D2 championship preview, depending on how this goes, with number 2 seed Whitespider taking on number 3 seed February Flurry champion Luke. This will be the last match of the round, as we've had a ton of action go underway this round, but a lot of quick games for the most part. Game yesterday between Bob Ross and Marbleside, ironically, was one of the longer games of the round, but besides that, it's been pretty swift game, so we'll see if we have that here or not. But we'll take a look at the bracket here. As speaking of that game, it was who the winner of this match will face in the regional final. Bob Ross Marbleside, that one is the only game of the round so far that goes 7. Really good series. Bob Ross came back from 3-2 down to get the win there. Marbleside, last day beaten left, will not make the final four as Bob Ross continues in his path. But Whitespider Luke going at it now for the last spot in the regional finals, both looking for I'm pretty sure for Whitespider, back-to-back regional finals appearance for Luke, his second of the season. So we'll see who gets it done here, but again, it's going to be interesting, and with how this round has gone so far, there has been a lot of upsets, so we'll have to see if that plays into the favor of Whitespider, or if Luke can be one of the few to overcome the projection. But jumping over to the stream, I'm joined by co-commentator Nifty, and we've got a bit of a crowd here. Nifty, I know you've been watching through some of this round so far, and you've seen a lot of these games where it just goes by quick. Someone gets an advantage on the cards and gets the win here. Obviously, we're not hoping for that here, but any comments on this match specifically and what both these players need to do to be able to get the win here? Luke already locked to the D2 championship with the win in T1, but Whitespider, one of those people who's currently on the bubble, a win here would be huge. Any comments on the expectations for the match today?
Yeah, I mean, I know we've only had one other 4-3 match here so far. I could see this one going to game 6 or 7 as well, though. We got two pretty skilled opponents going up today. Whitespider just locked into the LCQ, but obviously wanting to take on that D2 championship, maybe looking to usurp Luke here and become a fellow tournament winner with this run. There's still a lot of tournament left to play, but taking down a previous tournament winner here would be a big statement. That said, I think Luke's, while already locked into the D2 championship, I think he wants to continue extending his lead. I'm pretty sure he has the most series wins in the division right now with 8. So looking to extend that, maybe pull it up to double digits by the end of this one. Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing who can push for a more dominant run in this tournament overall.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But again, Luke does have the most series wins so far, but is the 3 seed. I mean, again, part of that is with how Archery April went. The tournament took a
Yeah.
hit for him, but able to have a nice recovery here thus far. But we'll go to our players here. We'll start with our higher seed, Whitespider. You did lock up your spot into the what's it called, the LCQ in the prior round, so we're able to have that security. You'll be back in the playoffs for a second straight season, but now the task shifts to making it back to the D2 championship for a second straight season, and this is definitely going to be your toughest opponent of the probably maybe even the season so far. Any comments on what you're expecting here today and what you feel you need to do to try to put yourself in the best position to get the upper hand?
I'm not expecting too much here, just hoping for a good match. Obviously, I'm hearing good things about Luke's play style, so good luck to you, and it should be a fun match.
All right, we'll bring it over to Luke here. Luke, I mean, this has been a good bounce back tournament so far. You're 8-2 on the game records. Actually, no, you're 8-1 on the game record right now. So, in a pretty good spot, kind of similar to how you did in February, but you are entering this match as the away side. Any comments on what you feel you got to do to try and get the win here, especially now that you're not holding the homestand this time, which is something you've kind of been used to for a few of these tournaments?
Yeah, I mean, this is my first game on the road since what?
I'm gonna be. Let me check actually.
LCQ last year.
It might have
Oh.
been, yeah, because I think you had homestand the entire run of February Flurry.
Yeah, because I was a 2 seed in February. Would have had to be away against Aiden Smith. He lost to Taco, and then faced Nathan and Mark.
Yeah, no, this is
I
your
think they were
this is
close.
your first away side since last season, so
Yeah.
yeah, any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, first 2 games going to be very key for me. Try and get a game under my hand. If I can get one or both before I can get into my home stand, that'll give me a real advantage. Going to my home stand, as I know I do pretty well on my hands on my starts. So yeah, first 2 games are going to be very key.
All right. Well, with that being said, from both our players here, we'll get things underway here. Red will be our ref for this one, and he will give Whitespider the game 1 call here. So we'll see what he says go with. All right.
9 card start.
All right, 9 is gonna be an interesting start. A lot of these players like the mid tier, but we're actually starting with a special card start to get underway with the red reverse.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Whitespider jumps on the quick chain here.
Or if there will be some more patient play with the ammo. Depends if they got a reverse to start out.
That is true. Red with his patented red emoji. He actually Whitespider actually is a +2 to start off, so he's gonna throw Luke back to 11.
4 card lead off of 1 play.
We'll see what the response is from Luke again. We mentioned it in the pregame. This is his first away game since last season, so it's been a while, but we'll see what he ends up
Coming
doing
off
here.
of a 4-0 win against Guma last round though, I don't know. I feel like Luke could be riding off of some good momentum here. It, like he said, it could depend on how these first 2 games go for him.
Yeah, that is true. Defeated Guma in the only sweep of the round of 32. Really good win there. Again, he's 8-1 on the game record so far in Meteorological May. Beat Jackson 4-1 in the round of 64. And then meanwhile, on the other hand, Whitespider, again, you got that LCQ security in the last round, but also had a close one against Rune, that one being a 4-3. So Luke's gonna draw early, so it's gonna be as an interesting call here. I'm curious to see what the hand is. That
Walking
doesn't
over to
necessarily,
green.
sometimes people do those like plays to try to psych people out, but then sometimes also could be just like truthful play where you just don't have anything. So we'll have to see how that goes throughout this game. But Whitespider's been kind of on a roll so far with the greens. Luke's been able to run that as well. But Whitespider been able to just kind of
Already
roll with cards so
already
far.
down to 4 cards. It's kind of scary territory for Luke.
Yeah, we'll see what Luke does here. Was playing a bit quick for a bit, but now just slows things down again. Just past 2 minutes here, so haven't been going that long so far.
I'm curious about that draw earlier too, if it was to just kind of stall out for a color switch, which Luke did get, or if it truly was like an ISO on red that early on.
Well, if it's the latter, that's not necessarily going to be great for Luke here, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
thinking through the options, if there are any.
I would think there's options here with how long he's been waiting on this. I think if he didn't have options, he would have had a play in by now. But
Mm.
or maybe he just need to go grab something real quick. That is also a possibility.
Stepping away for a moment, yeah.
I love just over analyzing things that don't need to be over analyzed.
Oh, same here, man. When the mind wanders, you just let it run. Yeah, sure is. Overanalysis every day of the week.
No, that's kind of what makes these streams a bit fun. Luke's gonna draw here.
Another draw. Okay.
I'm wondering if he's taking some notes from Gumma here.
The drawback. I don't know. With
Maybe.
Spider down to 3 now, I would be making a big play.
Could also just be trying to see what Whitespider has here as well. Because, I mean, could also just be he's trying to make him run out and then it's a double draw city. But,
Sure. Like, what are the odds of Spider having plan A on the first game? Maybe
well,
Spider could ISO himself.
judging off how this round has gone, I would say actually a more than 50% chance. But
Hmm.
you don't really know. Yeah, Luke is taking a while here.
Both of the green ones have been played out now. So maybe we could see a swap out to a different color. I don't know how much more we're going to be able to run on green with a 9-card start, but it's Luke drawing again. There's the switch.
Yeah, Whitespider gets the switch there. I feel like we gotta ask Luke about that after this game, but we do get a switch here, so I would think in theory he has a play, and there's a big play there. So
6-card draw.
yeah, waited till Whitespider got down to 2 to pull the trigger on the +4.
Maybe Luke just wanted to see what color Whitespider wanted to finish on. Not entirely sure. I'm kind of curious how many cards in that run we're getting from the drawback.
Well, we do have Pandora's open now. As Luke's gonna go for the blue switch. Again, that +6.
Spider
That
with some blues, yes.
that +6 is gonna shuffle Whitespider's hand a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. But Luke's now tied it, and Whitespider
Well,
wants to go
back
after
together.
yellow. And Luke draws
It's
again.
forced draw. Okay.
That one
Or was it forced?
That one might have been true. That one might have been true. But Whitespider on a roll here once again. Luke still cannot find an answer.
Down to 2 cards already.
There's the +4
And that's the
landed.
finish.
Interesting opening game there. 6 minutes 27 seconds, but I'll start with Whitespider here. I mean, you kind of had control for a good chunk of that game. Were you originally going to end with that +4 to the finish before Luke threw the +4 down at first, or was that something you got from the 6+6 ammo?
I got it from the +6 ammo, thankfully. I didn't really have a play out there, so +6 obviously wasn't helpful, but I was kind of in a weird spot anyway.
All right, well, worked out for Whitespider, and then we'll go to Luke here. Bit of an interesting opening game there. I mean, you drew on the red at the start, and then also drew, eventually on green, and then threw the +4 out, right away. Any comments on, what you were trying to do there, and anything you feel maybe can go a little differently in game 2?
Yeah, I mean, both of those I drew because I had the skips and nothing else, and I needed to get to yellow to potentially win the game. That wild yellow saved the game, by the way. I had to finish then if it weren't for that wild yellow.
Oh, interesting. So, again, that's an interesting how that goes, because I mean, again, Luke was drawing quite a bit, so not necessarily didn't have any, but it was gonna ruin his run to the finish. So, interesting how that worked out, and then Whitespider was able to, I guess, find the wild yellow at the right time. So, but
Nice
yeah, I
ISO
mean,
play.
yeah, we'll go to game 2 here. Whitespider just can't pick 9. But that was definitely an interesting opening game, and I think it's definitely like one of those in the moment where you're like a little confused on what someone's going for, but then gets a little bit more clear. As we start with a blue 2 this time, so kind of going back onto the blues. Just gonna play it cool this time. No +2 in sight for now.
Staying on blue, no early swaps quite yet. No draws either.
Yeah, Luke not drawing right off the bat this time.
Oh,
Ooh, another
reverse wild. All right.
another wild yellow comes in for Whitespider here. And again,
Luke's got the ammo for it this time.
Luke just playing it cool right now. But that's a interesting call. So Whitespider played the wild yellow and then immediately switched out from it.
I get that's a move that I managed to pull earlier in this tournament against who was my first opponent? Well, anyways, I'm kind of curious then if we're gonna see a return to yellow from Whitespider later. Maybe there was just an opportunity to take out the one wild there, maybe see what Luke had. I'm not entirely sure what the intent was behind that, but
I mean, maybe, but this is kind of working out in an interesting way for Whitespider right now, because I think Luke is now having to think what he could be having left in his hand. But now he's
never
really gonna be
mind.
wondering as he just +6'd him.
Whitespider's gonna wonder what to do with all this new stuff in the hand.
Still
Laying down a 3 blue.
Still no return to yellow.
Will we have time to see a return to yellow?
Well, we do see a return to yellow, and that's actually gonna be one short of the finish.
Interesting to play the 2 yellows and then draw. Or well, the 2 reverses. Oh, but
try
maybe
to call out, it wasn't quite there, but had the call. This is really just about number placement here. And it's gonna stay alive for now.
hanging down right around check. Not quite finishing, but maybe hoping to draw in some ammo that can get there. Whitespider switching to green.
Risky play. Gets a wild off the top deck. And the +2 is gonna save the game for Whitespider. And put him at advantage.
They're both at 2 cards.
Gets the Uno.
Oh!
What's the call from Luke?
Is there
Doesn't have
one
anything.
last red to finish it out?
Nope.
Ah! We're in Draw City!
This is the area for a top deck though, so gotta keep an eye out for that. All right, Whitespider tries to leave the door
Throwing out
open.
the reverse and the draw.
You call that a bit of an exchange play, hand in the reverse, get something else. But it's not really gonna pay off or anything.
Red is just not their color today.
And gets a second red reverse and draws once again. Luke's still not gonna have the reverse. And neither is Whitespider, so both red reverses are off the table now.
I think they're definitely hoping for a switch at some point here.
Alright, double
Oh.
top deck. Can we get the switch? Not from Whitespider. But Luke has it and we go into
Hey.
blue.
All
After that
right.
draw
Let's
city.
see some more plays.
Both are at 6. I thought it would have been a little more, but there were definitely a few top decks in there, so kept it somewhat low. Both blue
They've been doing a good job of keeping it even despite all the draws, yeah.
both blue 5s from Luke
Oh.
here. Wild green now. How does that change the game though?
Luke taking a moment to think about this one. Maybe switching the color to something else?
Oh,
Yeah, there we are.
+4. May have wanted to hold that to the end, but decided to jump for it now. Whitespider only with the yellow tube to respond.
Luke might have the... No, not quite. It's dangerous territory
Switch
for
the
White
green,
Spider,
risky
switching the
switch.
green.
Pays off.
That's it. More draws.
Alright, self-ditto here. Oh wait, nope, not self-ditto. Green 4.
And just going up one.
Gets the top deck
And
green
another
5.
one.
Green skip, green 6.
Skip up one more.
Trying the 6 again. And once again, the 6 is going to help Whitespider here, but he cannot get the Uno as he draws once again.
This has just been a game of stalling out the finish on both sides.
Yeah, there's been some good defense here in this game, so some good stuff to both players. But now we go into another draw city. Yeah, about to hit 6 minutes again, and it's good to see we're not getting a series so far that is just ending with 2-minute games. I think I need
We actually got something to commentate over this time.
That is true. That is true. I think okay. I need to adjust my mic a little bit because I wasn't picking up as much.
Oh, sure
but,
thing.
Yeah, still drawing on the green 8, which Whitespider top decked. And another wild
the blue.
to end the draw city. Let's take a look at the history here. So that's every wild off the table now. So no more of those. Only +4s left in terms of the wild category.
A lot of the ammo's been used up in the process here too. Like there's not too much left for blue. Yeah, as Luke lays down one of the other skips now.
Yeah, there's still a lot of +2s left on the table though, so we could see those, but yeah, reverses
I think
only
the finish is going to come down to number efficiency here.
always like those games, but only reverses really left. Only the 3 reverses left. Actually a few skips here and there, about I think 5 of them. So, still some ammo left in the deck, but it's definitely getting to that point where this is really going to come down to these decisions here, and this is I don't think this is kind of the point of the game where I consider it no longer to be completely luck. There's definitely going to be some strategy you have to implement here.
I wouldn't be surprised if both of them were trying to hold on to a wild +4 at the moment, looking for their moment to finish at this point.
That is very much a possibility here. There's still 3 left, and there's now 2
Oh,
left.
never mind. Here comes out one of them as we swap over to yellow again.
Yeah, only 2 left now, but Luke's going to block it with the green 7. Again, another really good defensive play, but Whitespider's going to have the crossover back into yellow.
Number efficiency.
Does Luke have the double green 7?
Luke thinking on this one.
Again, he went for the green
Yeah,
7 right away,
Whitespider's down
but
to 3.
again, I would not be surprised if Luke has one of those 2 +4s left. But again,
Yeah,
we saw
and
it
is thinking
earlier.
about using it.
Yeah, we saw it earlier. I think he wanted to hold it to the end, but decided to jump for it early. This could be another situation where he's considering that as well. Or maybe he just doesn't have the +4. Who knows? He is typing. He does have the +4, and that's going to be 2 of the +2s gone. That's going to be ultimately up. That's going to be a +10, so that throws Whitespider back to 13. So only
But
one
Luke's
+4 left.
still not quite within range for finish with Luke here, especially with all this ammo that's just gone from the game now. They're really gonna have to keep fighting.
I think we're gonna have a. I think we're gonna have a really good game here. So,
Do you think the deck's gonna get reshuffled?
maybe. I mean, we're at 25 cards left. This really just depends on if one color gets dried out here, because I could see a possibility where someone tries to play that last one and force a reshuffle. But we're gonna have to see.
Luke's managing to
I think the
ride the
card
red a
history
little
here is
bit.
gonna play a factor potentially.
I think they're exhausting red pretty well right now. Oh, and as I say that, swap on over to yellow.
And now the scoreboard's flipped from about a minute or 2 ago. Now Whitespider's gonna have to have the decision making.
There are no other 8s to swap into. There could be another yellow 8 to play here, but we're not gonna swap quite yet. Staying on yellow for now. Oh, never
Man,
mind.
that's a defensive play here. +6 of his own. I think there's now only one +2 left.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one more yellow +2. And Whitespider didn't throw it out during
Ooh.
that little
Going back
sequence there,
going
so
back to yellow 4 now. And there's the last
yeah,
+2.
Luke had it.
I mean, you can see the spread here. I mean, Whitespider's dominating the skips and the wilds, but everything else has been somewhat even. Let's pull up the history here again. That last
Red
+4
asking,
could be crucial, and that one now we don't
Red's
really
asking who
know.
has the last +4. I'm wondering if either of them are still holding on to it, or if it's somehow within the last few cards of this deck.
Well, Whitespider drawing here on yellow is going to be a bit of a struggle right now, but he gets to switch the red.
Somehow, number efficiency still holds out here.
Ooh, I don't, and that's actually a big tell from Luke. As he plays the red skip and draws.
We do have 2 skips left on the board. Yeah, this game's just about doubling the time of the last one.
Whitespider continuing on red here. Luke looking for that pivotal switch. Gets it to the yellow.
Ooh. Luke down to
Cross
2
over the
cards
green,
into
though.
green.
Can Luke capitalize? Gets the Uno. I mean, we've seen a lot of defensive plays here so far. Whitespider going to stick it out on the green. Luke can't finish it this time. And again, so many close calls here in this one. But if Whitespider does not have that +4, this could be a very scary situation for Whitespider, because that would imply that +4 is left in the deck, and Luke is in the perfect position right now to benefit off a top
Luke
deck.
could be drawing it, yeah.
Ooh, 3-card run here that's going to put Whitespider down. Luke still can't find
Whitespider
much.
down to 2. This might be the finish.
Does Whitespider have that last +4 here to close it out? Has
No.
the red 6. Gets the Uno call. That was close.
I was wondering.
Red 7 doesn't have the finish, though. Switch the green 7.
Oh.
We are really in a scary scenario right now. And neither player has that +4.
Neither
The
of them
+4
have
is
it.
one of the last 8 cards left in that deck. This
Oh my
is
god.
really scary for both players. This might come down to who gets it.
I think they're both just praying at this point to get the right combo.
Blue 6. Luke draws again. Spider look. White
There it
Spider
is.
finds it and gets the game. Wow, that really went down to the
That's
wire.
wild.
That was a very tense game, all things considered, but White Spider gets the job done to go up 2-0. White Spider, walk me through your thoughts on that one, because there were definitely a lot of moments where you were one wrong play from losing that one. Any comments on that game and how you're able to just get the job done?
Yeah, that was insane. That was like one of the most back and forth games I've ever played. There were definitely multiple times where I was either one turn away or like 2 turns away, and then Luke just tossed down ammo, and I was right back in the high numbers, and he was lower. It just kept going back and forth. I really did not think I was going to win towards the end there. Drawing that wild +4 was really just saved me completely. I had no connectivity other than that. And yeah, that was just a really well fought game. I got to give kudos to Luke for having really good timing, I think, with the ammo, because it was always played right at the most annoying, the most annoying point. So yeah, good game, and we'll see how the rest of the match goes now that he has the card start.
Luke, we'll go to you. I mean, there were a few moments in that game where you got down to Uno, and then White Spider was able to get a playoff and kind of foiled your run to the finish. Any comments on that one? Came really close, but ultimately just could not find that +4 at the finish.
Yeah, I mean, same thing as Whitespider. Was turn or two away multiple times. Hell, there was even a time there when I could have power played and probably gotten the win with number efficiency, but didn't quite get the wild +4 as required. And had the last yellow reverse and a 1 at one point. Yeah, didn't come away.
Well, a crazy game too there to wrap up the first
Indeed.
homestand, but we'll jump to Luke's side here as he looks to bring things back here. Full board available here, so we'll see what he goes with on this call. All right, gonna go with the higher tier. Trying to go for a little bit more control in the cards, but we'll see how
I
this
always
plays
like
out.
higher tier. I feel like having more options to start out with, while also potentially beneficial to your opponent. It helps give you more time to like adapt to whatever they're throwing down to.
All right, here we go. And we start with the yellow 1 here. So after a crazy game 2, we kick things back to bit more of a calm tone, I would think, but
We'll have to see.
quick switch here. But Luke, this is going to be important for him to get the win. I say calm tone, and we already have a crossover. Red one will be the red one will be the rainbow. We don't get it, but we stick with green.
Ah, well. With the way these two have been playing, I feel like we're gonna see the rainbow at some point.
Still rolling with the green, and now we go blue. Luke trying to take advantage of some of these switches here. Yeah, and
Riding along blue pretty well.
Yeah, so far both these players able to play it. Another switch here in the red.
There's our red.
That'll technically be Pandora's, although we haven't really seen much on yellow. And first double there, so Luke will give himself a definitive lead now with the reverse in the 2. We'll see what the response is from White Spider. Just gonna play a number.
Fair enough. I feel like when you're only 2 behind, you don't need to go crazy.
Ooh.
As Luke draws.
That's never a good feeling in those high tier starts where you're the first one to draw there, because then now you're the one who's behind the 8 ball. But White Spider's gonna draw as well, so both out on red. And Luke's gonna get a top
Never
deck
mind.
to try to alleviate the issue. But nothing
No
there.
number efficiency.
And now we got another draw city. We've seen a few of these in this series. Keep getting some of these top decks here, but no official escape until we get a switch.
Luke's still got a decent lead as he's managing to seems to be getting some more luck on the top decks.
Still no switch though. It's gotta leave me
At
curious
this point, I
on.
wouldn't. I think they're just trying to look for ammo that they can use for whatever next run they got in mind.
Could also be they don't want to be the one who initiates the switch as well. So we've seen
Mm.
that before, and Whitespider's
Oh.
gonna jump on it now, actually, with a 3-card play into the yellow now. So breaks it up, and now we get our true Pandoras now, since we finally see what yellow is all about.
I got a feeling they got plenty of yellow to spare.
Might be able to run this for a while. But again, mostly with the numbers so far. Luke still has the lead.
Taking a moment to think about this next play, though.
He has done that a few times this series, but I'm curious if this one's just trying to see what he has right now. Maybe try to line up a run, or maybe just consider the options here. But no play
Draws.
here. Another draw. Yellow 0. And the
Blue 0.
Gets to switch to blue, so not going back to yellow for now unless it's a wild, but again, gonna roll
Now
the
we're
blue.
running on blue.
It's tied, but a position arrow now with Whitespider.
Might be seeing a chain come up here. Yep, back to yellow.
Not necessarily what Luke was wanting to see, but gets to quick switch to blue right away.
Never mind.
Avoids disaster there. Now Whitespider has to draw.
But does Luke have anything to follow up on here? Or was that just like the last blue that he wanted to play anyway?
It could have been maybe, because we've seen these waits before and then he draws, so could be lining up for another
like
draw
there could be
city.
more ammo there, but is it too early to play?
Well, he's got 7 cards here. And there's another draw. There you go. And another draw city underway.
Never mind.
Okay, blue 3. Well, gets a top deck blue 3, and that's actually going to be a switch to
Swap.
Whitespider. And a crossover to red though.
Another
so
one.
Luke trying to take advantage of the color here. Control the pace,
Triple
and
3 play.
that's actually going to force Whitespider to draw now. So no blue, no red. Could work out for Luke here, as this becomes a 3-color game, and that's a big run
There's
here
the
with
ammo.
the +6. Once again, throws the +6 down. Whitespider up to 12, and now we go into green.
If Luke's been holding on to a +4 this time, we might be within finish territory.
Whitespider going with the green 7. We'll see the responses from Luke. He is typing. Maybe he has a finish here. +4,
Yes,
there it
there we
is.
go.
All right, gets the finish there, and 2-1. So Luke back in it. This time takes advantage of the quick strike on the +6 here to get the job done. But Luke, any comments? Shortest game also so far, but even then 5 minutes. But Luke, any comments on that one? Definitely were a few draws there to force a stall out, but ultimately found that 3 to get the switch, and then you were off rolling. So any comments from that game as you get on the board now?
Yeah, I mean that one wasn't really ideal at times, but yeah, it worked out in the end. Got lucky with some draws, and then yeah, most of that was just ammo on a color that had no numbers, and then yeah, just needed the right connection at the right time.
All right, we'll go to Whitespider here. I mean, for Whitespider, again, it's kind of similar spot where like you kind of were the one who's like trying to play it out, but ultimately fall into the draw cities. But on that +6, was there maybe a bit of a hesitation on pulling the trigger on ammo there, or was it just that +6 really didn't give you much to work with?
Definitely had some bad cards there. Towards the end, I was like very green heavy, and that didn't help much considering he had a green towards the end also. and those draws were kind of just brutal when we were drawing on red for a while. I was hoping to at least get some top decks to lower my card count, but yeah, no, I kind of bad card synergy. I had a couple moments where I was really close to a win, but yeah, the momentum just didn't swing my way.
Actually, no, you are actually red does have a point there. Luke could have probably just finished the game one turn earlier, but because he could have gone with what's it called? Red +2. I mean, honestly, a few ways he could have done it. Red +2, green +2, yellow +2, yellow
Yeah.
skip +4, and then +4 in the green, and then the green 0. But Luke still got the win no
Luke
matter what.
still got
But
it. Yeah.
yeah, so ultimately that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But game 4 now, Luke looking to make it 2-2. Just can't pick 14. I might have an idea what he's gonna go with here, but we'll see what the call is. All right, 13. So gonna stick it with the higher tier, but and our
As we
second
land on a yellow reverse.
second reverse start of the series. Didn't see the jump on the chain last time. We'll see if we get it this time. Don't get it
First
again.
move is staying on yellow.
I think the when that happened game 1, it was also a 2 with the same color as well to start it off. So
Deja vu.
yeah, but we're keeping it yellow for now. Both just rolling on the numbers so far. Again, both players not
Swapping over to blue.
There's the blue switch. Yeah, no. Both players don't typically love throwing out all the ammo really early on. So
Nah, they're definitely valuing when they play it. I think especially with Luke when he hesitates on then draws. I feel like in those moments he's really considering if he wants to pull out the ammo or not.
all right. Blue 2 from Whitespider here. We've been just kind of rolling on the numbers so far. No draws yet. And again, as we keep going down, the longer these consecutive plays go, the more
Pulls ahead
pivotal
early again.
it is to not be the first draw. But Luke with the pull ahead, yeah. But Whitespider's gonna go for the green here. But that might have actually helped Luke. So
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that you would want to stay on blue for too long.
all right,
Oh, never mind.
double of his own now. Both are down to 4, but Luke still has the advantage.
We're
Now,
back to green 5 as
down
well.
2. Might be running
Never
it
mind,
down.
on 4.
Could run down to a plan A here. But Luke has ran out with 2 cards left. Can Whitespider get down? No, he cannot. So both run out toward closer
Green
to
knight.
the finish.
So maybe red or yellow here are the colors to look out for.
It is what we're looking at right now.
Well, with how much they're drawing now, they could be pulling out anything.
And Whitespider again trying to leave the reverse open. He's done that a few times this series, but Luke is not biting on any of them.
Does not want to swap out like this. At least not right away.
Yeah, now the hands are building now as both get top deck greens. No switch from Whitespider. Does Luke go for the switch? No, he does not.
No.
And we are kind of climbing all the way back up to the beginning. Whitespider keeps getting these top decks though, so he's kind of staying around the same area.
Trying to keep the card count even, yeah.
Look at the draw. Whitespider's gonna go for the
We got
switch here.
number of fish.
Yeah, so now Whitespider with a decent lead, but Luke is gonna actually go for the weight here, and capitalize. Gets to switch into blue. Wants to be the one who controls the color. And now he's really light
As
switching
he
here.
shows off.
Yeah, light switching for a bit here. Could see another one here potentially. No, we stick with yellow. And Whitespider's actually gonna go for the
Over to
switch now in
red.
the red. That is the color he originally wanted. Luke's gonna go with it this time. Again, Whitespider with a decent lead here right now. Haven't seen a ton of ammo so far. Only these occasional doubles, as you see right there.
I think both of them really want to be patient with their ammo and try to use it into a finish as much as possible, as we might see with Whitespider here.
And we we might see some of that patience play off here. 3 cards, +4, and there it is.
There we are.
So 3-1 here for Whitespider, 1 away from the win. And again, kind of an interesting series how that goes. We started off relatively plan A, but with mostly numbers. Didn't get to the finish there, and then it was a bit of a draw city, and both had their different ideas of what they wanted to do. We'll start with Whitespider. You got close to the end there. I'm assuming that +4 was from one of the draws there, but any comments on how you're able to find your way to the end there, especially with all those crazy light switches going on in the middle of that one?
Yeah, definitely another draw fest towards the middle end there. I kept drawing red, and I was pretty pleased with my red draws too because I had 2 red 2s and 2 red 3s, which kind of let me prevent color switches very easily. But I was also lucky that he kind of I only had like a yellow 2 and a blue 6, and everything else was red. So I was kind of lucky that we cycled through those colors a little bit first because it would have been hard to connect to them without playing the wild +4. But yeah, it ended up being, I wouldn't say crucial because I was on red anyway, but it was nice to have it as a backup even if I didn't get my play out there. So that was definitely another good game. Maybe a little bit more draw heavy than either of us would have liked, but that's kind of been the series so far. Good game.
All right, Luke down 3-1 here. Not necessarily the ideal spot you want to be in, but any comments on that game? You were definitely trying for a little bit of those slight switches after the draw city concluded, but after that, it just seemed like you didn't really have the answers to block out Whitespider from getting that run to the finish there. Any comments on that as you back against the wall 3-1? Any comments on what you feel you could have done there and what you feel you got to do in these last 3 games?
Yeah, I mean, was basically 1 turn away from win. Had a +2 combo into, what was it, yellow to finish. If I got had an extra turn. So, beating to the punch, really. And then, yeah, just gotta hope I get favourable starts, really. Because so far, not really gotten much of the start in terms of wilds and +4s. Most of it's come from the draw cities, really.
All right. Well, I think it's interesting because that's the second time that we've heard for to Nifty here. I think it's the second time we've heard Luke was 1 away from the win there. So maybe 2
Yeah.
potential opportunities where a power play could have been used there, but ultimately decided not to. But
I mean, at this point, I feel like for Luke, it might be power play or die for the remainder of this series. I could be wrong, but we're at game 5 and it's a 3-1, so
well, I mean,
any opportunity to pull it out would probably be this match.
yeah, I mean, I think for both players, they were with the power play going into this one, they were just gonna try to use it to close out the series, which Whitespider's now in the position to do that. But Luke back against the wall, we'll see what he decides to do with that, whether he decides to stick to his guns or maybe switches up his usage a little bit. But it's going to be game 5 now. It's going to be Whitespider's call here. We'll see what the decision is. Again, no 13. He's going to go for a huge risk here with 5. So looking to play looking to play the luck
Get
here
this over
and
with. Yeah,
get a quick
yeah.
finish here, especially in a series that hasn't had the super short games, but has a few long.
Whoa.
That's gonna be huge for Whitespider actually to get a
wow.
wow free choice off the start. That's actually gonna be a huge help for Whitespider here. Gets to choose where he wants to start, on the color.
Potentially could make a big run at the start. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
this is rough. Looking rough for Luke here.
gonna choose yellow here. Now Luke's got to think what he wants to do here because Whitespider chose that. Goes for a double here. That gives him the lead, and oh, that's not what Whitespider was actually hoping for a quick switch. Didn't get it.
Yes. Aye.
No, that's kind of like
Weird.
what it's a double-edged sword sometimes because sometimes people want to go for that immediate switch because you think you want the color that's gonna help you, but Whitespider was hoping for that switch and just did not get it. Now we're in another early draw city.
5 card start, and now we're suddenly 7 each.
Yeah, yellow. Not very much on yellow here. But draw city
Oh my
continues.
gosh.
Can't find anything.
This is not the quick match that we were thinking it could have been.
Well, this is a quick pace here on the draw city. And suddenly we are all the way up to 11. Make that 12. No yellows to be found anywhere. Neither player just wants to go for it. Yeah, and suddenly we started on a 5-card start, and now we're up to 13 cards.
We've been living in Draw City this whole series.
14 here. Still drawing back. Now the 15. Again, they can't go past 20, so gotta see eventually when this stops.
I mean, they've gotta have yellow in the bank. It's just, what are they drawing for?
18, okay, gotta be careful because 20 is the limit.
Guma would be proud.
I mean, this would be kind of crazy if neither player actually has yellow because I weirdly enough was in a situation like this in a D1 match where I kept drawing back and I literally could not find anything until the final card, so
I mean, I suppose with a 5-card start, it's not like they had a whole bunch of options from the get-go. But you would think after like 30 some draws that someone would get a yellow to play, right?
yeah, Chlora's actually been here for a while, so we welcome her, spectator for this season. But Luke finally gets a playoff, and we finally get the switch. Wow,
the game
and
continuing,
Luke
everyone.
Is going back to yellow. He does not want
yellow.
He does not want Whitespider to play.
All right, Luke, what you got? It better not be another draw. Come on.
Oh
my gosh.
No, it's okay. Well, we can't go past 20, so Whitespider only has one more draw left.
What happens if I hit 20?
Well, you can't draw. If you have something, you can't draw again. But if you literally don't have something, you need to, like, DM the ref.
Okay.
Even a wild card at this point that you've been holding on to would have to be an option. Which, I mean, I don't blame either player for wanting to hold on to something.
You could get the
like
20.
that.
Yeah, 20. You could get the 20. 20's the limit, though.
Yes. Yes.
So you're allowed one more draw.
I legitimately
well,
can't
no. You can't self draw past 20. If you go past 20, then that's fine. You just can't self draw past 20. So like if you get like plus 30, you're fine, but like you can't self draw past 20. That's the rule. Yes, it's your turn. All right, so you can't draw again unless you literally have nothing. All right, so gotta have a play here. There you go. Yellow 6.
Top deck down. Oh my gosh, they better be starting to draw yellows if they have them. Luke's clearly been holding on.
All right, so Whitespider technically has a 20-card comeback noted, but yeah, bizarre way for that one to go. Started at 5 and suddenly we found ourselves at 20, and Luke has gone back into the yellow.
Oh my
and
gosh,
Whitespider
Luke
has to be
wanting to ISO this as much as possible.
Whitespider has to be in agony here, as yeah, this is definitely a page out of Gumma's book here.
Luke took down his rival and then adopted the strategy. I can't believe it.
If you really want to, but all right, Whitespider with the green here. It's interesting though because this strategy usually does not have a ton of success, but there's some instances where it works.
This is definitely one of those instances.
Yeah, this is also why we needed to have the drawback rule because we cannot have someone going back to 40 and holding on to like all plus fours, and then someone gets to Uno and then you just like plus 30 them, because that like actively ruins the game. But don't want to completely discourage drawback, since there is a little strategy with it, but there's got to be a limit to it, you know.
So, G-Man, how's it feel to be on the highway out of Drive City after all this time?
Oh, it feels it
Oh.
feels exhilarating, as we get a lot of color switches here, switching lanes. But gonna stick with the green for now. My question,
We were being blinded by yellow
yeah.
for too long.
Well, here's the thing, because Whitespider clearly does not have yellow, but how much yellow does Luke have? That's gonna be interesting, because I feel like for Luke right now, he knows that's a place he can go to if he's not feeling great about his current situation. But it's really how much yellow does Luke have, because I think Luke does have some yellow. It's just I'm pretty sure Whitespider doesn't have any, which is kind of crazy how that happened, but
Sure, but like the more cards that are like the more cards that are drawn through, the more likely Whitespider will be to get back into yellow if he has to continue drawing. So I feel like Luke might want to hold off on yellow until later on, which is why we're seeing more of these other colors now.
yeah, and again, playing the cards now, and this is also, I guess, a good reminder as well. Whitespider, no, well, technically, by rule, it would be a 20 card comeback, but, it's a little bit wonky, but technically it would be 20 card, technically it would be 20 card comeback. If Whitespider wins. Whitespider's gonna power play, so maybe he has found the finish, and I mean, again, with the drawbacks, it wasn't really playing a lot of ammo. Luke did not have 20 at any point, no.
Don't know if this is quite because
this-
power play and then only placing down one number.
Well, no, because
This
the run's
has
gonna
to
come
be
here.
quite the
Yeah, there it
run.
is. Luke's not gonna be able to power play because he can't do back to back. So, this is really just gonna be about executing. Plays that random +2, and he's looking to have a 4-card run to the finish here. To wrap this series
This might
up.
actually be it. Wow. Did Luke leave the door open too long? Oh no.
All right, tried to go for the call out, but ultimately wasn't enough, as Whitespider's going to get the win. Luke disappointed with that one. So yeah, kind of wild how that one went, but Whitespider gets the win with the power play ending there. Whitespider, I need to ask you, did you generally not have any yellows in that entire span? Because that was a very chaotic moment in this match.
I started with one yellow. I played it instantly, and then from then on, I only top decked and played. I never had more than one yellow at a time, and anytime I had it, I played it instantly. So I never had yellow.
Gosh. Oh,
But I
what
did
were
have
you
wild
hoping
plus
would
fours, so I
happen?
would have been able to play. I was just hoping for color switches. I was so strong in every color. I had a +2 every other color, skips and stuff. I had 2 wild plus fours. So really anything happening other than yellow was good for me.
Yeah, that was definitely crazy. Luke tried, I mean, for Luke, may not have felt like he was in the best spot, in that one, but tried to go for the Gumma strat there, but again, that's a strat that doesn't really seem to find a lot of success, so, ultimately didn't pan out there. But Whitespider, you go on to face Bob Ross, who is, the only, non-ranked player left in this tournament. But any comments on what you're looking to do against Bob Ross to try and get the win there, make your first Final Four since June Gelato of last season?
Yeah, I'm just hoping for another good match. This one definitely helps my confidence a little bit. I do think I definitely got a little bit lucky at some points, but if I could keep this momentum into the next match, that'd be great because yeah, like you said, the only other time I made Final Four was a long time ago when I had that crazy undefeated streak. And this definitely does not compare to that, but it'd be nice just to get that far anyway.
Yeah, well, that's gonna do it for this match here. Won't get a comment from Luke here. Definitely disappointed
Yeah,
from that
already
loss,
left.
but Nifty, any final comments on this one? I mean, this tournament has had so few upsets, and this is another one here. I mean, technically from a rankings perspective, this was an upset, but in terms of the seeding here, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But This is gonna be a big win
I
for.
think White
Yep,
Spider.
this is gonna be a big win for Whitespider when
I,
it comes to the D2 championship. But any comments on this? As like, apologies for cutting you off there.
no, it's all good. I think White Spider definitely proved why he was ranked 1 seed higher than Luke here, despite Luke being the tournament winner. Had some great defensive plays, was still able to hold out despite all the draw city craziness in this match. I think he plays well with endurance. And even with a 5-card start ending in 8 minutes. Oh, I feel like White Spider has a pretty good shot of taking on the tournament championship here. I definitely feel like he could win the region here against Bob Ross, but that remains to be seen. We'll have to wait until next week or so for that match.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Again, we have 2 matches for the regional finals tomorrow, actually. One at 11 a.m., one at 9:30 p.m., so action's not stopping here. We also have the D1
it's this
Movie
weekend.
May D1 Movie May finale tonight at 11 p.m., which I will be there for, and I'll be co-commentating that with Tapir, going on a lot of late-night drives there. Hopefully that game does not completely lose the plot and end in complete chaos. But oh wow, okay, that's interesting because yeah, because I mean 3 connections there with the +2s, and then just the yellow and blue strays, but
Yeah. Dang.
yeah, but that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for us. Again, congratulations to White Spider on the win. He makes back-to-back regional finals appearances, and he'll be facing Bob Ross in the regional final for the Altimeter region. We'll see who gets the win there to make their first Final Four of the season. But besides that, that'll do it from us. On behalf of the entire Emory Uno team, and me and Nifty, co-commentators today, and our ref Red, and our players, thank you all so much for watching this D2 stream. We'll be back later tonight with the D1 finale, and then tomorrow with some more D2 action as we kick off the regional final rounds. But until then, I'm G-Man. We'll see you in a few hours for D1 finale, and then we'll see you tomorrow for some more meteorological May action. But until then, take care and have a great day, everybody.
This has been a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 2.